Investigators say they were executing a warrant, which led them to Ardsley Motel late last night, but then gunfire erupted.
It sounded like a war.
The shots came quickly, one after the other after the other.
It led to that wild shootout that left one suspect dead and 2 officers injured. Well, the sergeant with the Greenburgh Police Department struck in the chest by a bullet. It was stopped by his vest.
Coming straight out of college, went to NYPD, went through that whole process, took about like 3 months to get on there. Back in '98, did 4 years in the city, finally transferred out to Greenburgh, where I did 21 years.
Approximately 10:30 p.m. this evening, we were requested to assist the FBI with a federal drug warrant.
This guy killed his wife in the city of New Haven, Connecticut. Went across state lines doing bank robberies with another guy, and we believe that there's a female in the room.
We were assisted by multiple police agencies at the time.
Our hostage rescue team tapped into their lines to call. That's when they got a hold of the girl and told her to get into the tub. I set up on the back of the Bearcat with the open doors. The lights were on me. We had our lights on the Bearcat shining in his direction, but as he came to the door and that door started to open up and there was a silver handgun down on his right side, I started yelling, "Suspect, suspect, suspect," gun, gun, gun. And that's all I remember. I let one into him, he let one into me. Got me right here, and I'm yelling, "I'm hit." I'm yelling, "I'm hit, I'm hit, I'm hit." He pulled me behind the Bearcat at some point and put me on the ground by the tire. And then he starts feeling for the hole. They took me out of the fight. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to look out for your men. And the next day is, when the phone calls started to flood in and everything started to sink in after this whole event, it was a lot.
Police say one sergeant was saved by that bulletproof vest. Both are expected to be just fine.
When the shooting happened, there was things that were going on in my life after that I knew were a problem. There was sleepless nights. Things were setting me off as far as like noises. I was turning around on jobs. I wasn't going to jobs. I make sure I'd show up late on a call. I knew all these things were happening, but I was trying to suppress them as much as I could. And then it started to eat at me. And then the sleepless nights start into panic attacks, waking up with cold sweats. I'm having nightmares, flashbacks. I had to take a hard look at myself and reevaluate myself and say, hey, do I want to go down this path of possible drugs and alcohol addiction to just numb myself so I can get through, or do I gotta start putting in the work and acknowledging what's going wrong right now? And that's what I did. I acknowledged what was wrong and I started to reach out for help. But I knew that once I got to that point of admitting to one of the higher ups that this is what I'm dealing with, there is great possibility that I get sent home, gun taken away, shield taken away, and right into retirement. And I got myself to that point to where I went and sat down with the chief and told him that I was dealing with anxiety, depression, PTSD from the event. Here we are.
Hands behind your back.
Walk them at your pace, so you're taking in information.
And he was great, and he worked with me. He kept me there. He took me out of uniform. He allowed me to be around the guys. He even allowed me to be around the SWAT team, which those were my guys. I got to go to training and be around them. And I knew I had to go through these programs and therapy and just reach out for help anywhere and anywhere. Working with horses, like, okay, let's do it. But one of the guys I worked with talked me into it, and he brought me to it. And he's like, Steve, he goes, just try it. So I did, and it was life-changing for me. Working with these horses, two of the main things that I learned was being vulnerable is one to these horses. Two is setting healthy boundaries, because you can bring that back to your own life. And that's what I started to do, set healthy boundaries in my life. And it really works on a daily basis for me. The other thing is staying present. And I had so many things going on in my life at that time. And working with these horses have helped me understand myself and how to be a better me on a daily basis for my loved ones and my friends and everything else. This connection of groundwork with them, I want more of it on a daily basis. You know, I want to stay present. You know, I want to remember the healthy boundaries. You know, I want to stay vulnerable. And going through this program, you know, I wanted to get a little bit of me back, and that's what I said. And reflecting 2 months later, my girlfriend sent me a picture of one of her friends passing away. And there was a group of like 20 of them back in the day. And I felt that pain. I actually felt it for each one of them. And I felt it for her family and her, you know, her friends and her kids and everything else. That was the first time in years that I felt for other people because of what I buried within me. And it didn't dawn on me until months later that that key moment happened in my life in the middle of the Pegasus program. Working with those horses is very, very special. And I believe that door opened up from working with those horses. The thing that Pegasus taught as far as in that quiet time is where you're doing like a lot of healing, a lot of like working on yourself, you know, seeing where you're at. The horses always are gonna explain to you where you're at. So I feed off of the horses too. You know, like if I see the horses are jittery, I take a step back and see where I'm at. And a lot of times it's like, wait, I'm thinking about X, Y, and Z. I'm nervous about this. I'm not, and then I'll take a deep breath and I'll go back into them and they readjust and they work off of me. So that is also another thing that they've taught me is, hey, take a step back, find out where you're at, and then go back to what you're doing. It's calming to think about them, you know, in that setting. Like once I turned to go onto that farm, it's like a different me. They profoundly have affected my life in a way that I never thought could happen with a horse. I mean, it's even more so than people are like, oh, is it like a dog? And I said, it's a little bit more intense than a dog, because I love dogs and I have dogs. Once you're like right on top of them, you will start to sync with them and lower your heart rate naturally, just being next to them. And I watched, you know, their head position, or their eyes getting heavy, their head starts to bow down. And I know that is like they're telling me they're comfortable with me in their space. They're safe. I'm a safe person. It's just like a conversation going back and forth, and we're just calming each other. And it's a beautiful moment that I try to have every time I go there. For so many years, I let this job define who I was. And it's not who I was, it's what I loved, it's what I did. The retirement years, I see so many men and women having difficulty in the retirement. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm here to say, no, it's not gonna be that way for you guys. It's not gonna be that way for me. It's a struggle every day for me, but I'm still making it through, and you'll make it through.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Well, I believe God has put us all on this earth to do something. And every day, you know, it's calling me more and more this sort of work to reach the men and women, you know, to have them have an outlet, to get better, just to help. And that's what I want to do. I want to help the men and women in my law enforcement field, my brothers and sisters. And it's a passion of mine, and I'm finding new purpose in helping others. especially through this horsemanship program at Pegasus. You know, it's amazing stuff, and I just want to see people get better and just help as much as I can.